I just got a new camera and I'm marveling at the fact that you can see actual eyebrow hairs in this one. Wow. So hello, welcome, and happy Royal Goth Day. In lieu of this fine day, I thought that I'd regale you with a tale on how this happened. And by this, I mean how I became goth. Now, this is not the kind of thing that happens overnight. However, for me, it kind of is. So this tale is complete with photos and stories that are probably equally embarrassing. I hope you enjoy. So here we go. Oh yeah, check out that 90s-tastic choker. So the year is 1993, and yes, that is a picture of a picture. And what am I surrounded by? Disney stickers. Freaking epic. So, starting things off here, I am pre-goth and living in Florida. Although I was born and raised in New York, there was a period where I lived in Florida, and it was around this time that I was listening to a lot of techno music. I was listening to Utah Saints. I was listening to Lords of Acid. However, during the year of 94, summer of 94, my parents returned to New York after a 4-year stint, as Florida was clearly not for them. My very first day moving into the house, I'm greeted by the welcome wagon. So who's the welcome wagon? This crazy bitch. And I say crazy bitch lovingly because she and I are still friends today, and she is in fact a crazy bitch. So upon meeting me, she immediately invites me to a club called Voodoo Lounge. Voodoo Lounge is a goth club, a scene I'd never heard of in my life. This picture was taken that night at Voodoo Lounge. As you can see, I myself have normal makeup on. However, I'm wearing a shirt that she lent me, which is the itchiest, sparkliest silver top ever, which was perfectly normal for the time, as it was the 90s. So the previous photo was taken in August of 94, and this one is September of 94, my very first day of school. Check out the mom jeans, and I'm not talking about the ones my mom is wearing. Smoking in the house, mom. Really? Moving on. As she's a key player in this tale, I think it's time we give Crazy Bitch a name. Crazy Bitch's name is Dawn, and Dawn and I are pretty much hanging out every single day, and I'm now listening to the same music as she is. So despite my wearing very normal clothing, the transition has already begun. In school, I tended to congregate with people that were also in the alternative scene, and I was listening to a lot of Skinny Puppy, 9 Inch Nails, Frontline Assembly, so a lot of aggressive industrial music, and it definitely begun to show. Here we are later in 1994. I'm going to say about February, and this is one of my new friends, Elena. And as you can see, we're both wearing our matching 9 Inch Nails t-shirts and expressing our utter angst at what, I'm not sure, but you cannot listen to bands like 9 Inch Nails and not be angst-ridden. I imagine in this photo we're saying something along the lines of, "Oh my God, Trent Reznor anger! I'm so mad!" Oh, I remember that dress. Here I am with Elena from the previous photo. This is 1995, the very next year, and we are in 10th grade at this point, and I'm sat with Elena and Jamie in the cafeteria. As you can see with the backpack on the table, your backpack was your time to shine. It was your time to let everybody know what bands you listened to. By this point, I was definitely introduced to goth. Despite the usual suspects, the gateway bands such as Sisters of Mercy or Bauhaus, the very first goth band I heard was Lords of the New Church. And then it just went on from there. It was also during this period that I should probably note that I had a fixation with vampires. I was either convinced that I was one or I could very easily become one. I was engaging in such behaviors as blackout curtains, skin lightening cream, not to change my ethnicity as I am Italian and Filipino and am quite olive. I wanted to basically look like a corpse, even eating blood, and I'll elaborate on that because I only did it once. A friend of mine was over my house. We actually had a few friends over at the time, and he was skateboarding outside. He fell off his skateboard, cut his shin on a jagged piece of rock, and came into the house to clean himself up, and he had blood dripping from his leg. And as he came into the house, my mother came into the bathroom as well to get him the first aid kit, and I went into the bathroom with them, and I didn't even process what I was doing at that point. It was just sort of instinctual. I took my finger and ran it up his leg with the blood, and now I have blood dripping off my finger, and I immediately stuck my finger in my mouth and I ate it. Firstly, let me tell you, it tasted disgusting. It tasted like pennies, something I did once and never did again. However, it was worth it for my mother's reaction alone. Do I recommend this? Absolutely not, because with all the bloodborne pathogens that are out there, it's probably best not to eat anybody else's blood. So it was during this vampire period that I took my role very seriously, and I literally went around turning people. And by turning people, I meant turning them goth. My friends would laugh at me and say, "What are you doing, cloning yourself?" But I would find people and say, "You need to listen to this band, or you need to come with me to this club." And I would literally turn people goth, and some are still goth to this day. True story. I was also responsible for a couple people's "what the fuck was I thinking" moments, but can't win them all. Oh, here we are later in 95, and the goth is definitely taking hold. I'm listening to a lot more goth music now. I went from Lords of the New Church, now I'm listening to Sisters of Mercy, I'm listening to Bauhaus. I'm getting deep into it. And as you can see here, I have the obligatory rose and ripped stockings, and I'm looking forlorn. Oh, it's begun. So it's later in the year 1996, and who is that stood next to me? Ironically enough, the very kid whose blood I ate. And this is us having one of our dance parties, and it's something we did quite a lot, actually. This is around the time where everybody was a DJ, everybody had an industrial band, so we had the equipment. So we would have DJ equipment, smoke machines, strobe lights, and this time it was in my basement. And it was just a really fun night. I actually remember this one very well. And it sucks because it was during an age where we didn't have digital cameras, so you'd have to hunt out actual photographs of certain events. High school! So here I am walking down the hallway rocking the same black bob that I rocked for a good few years. I'm wearing Manic Panic white-out foundation so that I appear as dead as humanly possible. And it's at this point I'm pretty much positive that I convinced my entire school that I may in fact be a vampire. Here we are, summer of 1997, and I don't know how it worked in your school, but in my school, we took our senior photos this summer between 11th grade and 12th grade. And as you can see, I'm wearing a black shoelace around my neck because I spent the night out and forgot my trusty dog collar. So a shoelace it was, and I think it worked. Oddly enough, those black gloves and that rose, they're props. They handed them to me, and I was ecstatic because probably something I would have worn anyway. And here we are in 1998. The transition is officially complete. And there you have it. It was 4 years of adventure, of self-discovery, of cheesy photo shoots, of concerts and clubs, and I would not trade it for anything. If I could find more pictures, I would absolutely love it. I'm going to see what I can dig up, and I hope you enjoyed. Bye.